Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel for another process video. You are probably going, am I actually seeing this? It has been 2 months and I'm not gonna lie, this layout has been done a month and a half ago. But so many changes have taken place. So let me first start talking about my layout. And then when I get to a certain part, I kind of tell you about some changes. Um, So let me get started on, like I said, kind of explaining you my idea. So I have these 3x3 photographs that I printed with my Canon selfie, and right away, you see how I'm kind of like next to each other on both photos? I did not like that. I was trying to go in order of sequence of the day, but then that was not going to work. So I am going to rearrange them a little bit differently at the end. It really doesn't matter because it's not like anybody was with me that day, so they're not going to go, oh, this wasn't in order, Desiree. And that's okay. But as I'm flipping through, I knew I wanted to use some die cuts, some stickers, some puppy stickers. I mean, I bought the entire Simple Stories Disney Day at the Park collections. I think there was a total of 5, and I'm 99% sure that I bought every single piece that they had in their collection, or that they had offered in their collection. And so I'm just going to kind of go through, pick out some pieces. I already kind of knew what I wanted. I definitely wanted to use this Main Street. It's not really like part of like any of the lands, but I think of it as like just like the Main Street area of all the nostalgic, pieces of Mickey or Disneyland. And I'm just going to start kind of messing with them. And as I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and just kind of fill you in on what's been going on because this may take up the whole video. All right, but while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and grab that stencil and I'm going to stencil and ink up a little bit on the background. Okay, so if this is what you guys want to hear, then stick around. If not, I'm sorry. Just put me on fast forward or just see what the end of what the results look like. But what have I been up to? Oh my goodness, so much. I went back to work as I always do when school starts. I go back to work because I'm a paraeducator for children with special needs. And I had to switch my site. Now, I've been at the same site, which means the same school, for 6 years. And so that was kind of hard and definitely an adjustment. And I really needed to be closer to where my son was. And the reason being is that even though both my kids go to a school in town, they're on the complete opposite sides of one another, including where I live. So it's like if you just think of a square, think of like I'm at one corner of my house, my daughter's at the other corner, my son's at the other corner, and then my job is on the other. So it's a complete opposite, right? It takes me an hour just to take them to school. So factor in that if I was to go stick around at the original site I was working at, that would take me an hour and a half. And there's just no way I was going to take my daughter, drop her off at 7:15 in the morning when school starts at 8:30. Nobody would probably be there for like a good 20-30 minutes, and they already had, and like no kids are there that early, no kids, because it's such a very, very small school. And so there was already an incident with a guy in a car, and I just was like, I can't have that. So I ended up switching sites and got transferred to a different site that was right across the street from my son's school, which was perfect. So it kind of shaved off like a half an hour, and I didn't have to drop off my daughter so early. And so um, that happened. And then my husband, as you guys, I think I told you guys this last time, where he was, something happened with his job. And so he actually switched departments, and that department, he pretty much could work from home a lot more than what the other department was working. And so, because due to COVID, he was working from home most of the time. And but he was working out in the living room, and so he's like, Desiree, with this job in this department, it's like it sounds all good, like, ooh, your husband gets to work from home. No, it's like he's in the office, like it has to be quiet. He cannot be bothered. He has his breaks down to the wire where they're on a timer. The minute that they're up, he has to be right back in the office working. So it's really no different. Like he can't just be like, if the kids called up and to be like, Dad, I need you, can you come and get me, or whatnot. No, it's got to be me. And so he just doesn't get the freedom that you would think that, working from home could give you. So because of that, like I said, we had to move his office, which was just a little small IKEA desk, from the dining room into my scrapbooking room. You all know what my scrapbooking room looks like. It is packed, it is lined around the perimeter of furniture. And so he was like, well, we got to squeeze this desk in somehow. And I go, there's just no way because a lot of my furniture has drawers and doors. And so I need to be able to open them up. And so finally, one day when I was at work, I was like, he was trying to come up with ideas, and I kind of gave him an idea of what we could do. He made it happen, and he got moved in. So a lot of his phone calls can be on video as well. So that's another reason why I can't be in there. And he works a lot of overtime now. So he puts in long hours, and so it's not easy for like, oh, once I get off work I can just hop in there. No. So that's kind of the big reason why I kind of scaled it back so much. And so here my desk, or my laptop, my computer was right next to his, but it wasn't on a desk. It was kind of where the printer was at, and it was not ergonomical uh, fitting. I was having back problems, wrist problems. It's not made for a computer to be on top of, and a chair to not even be tucked into, like where you could tuck underneath like your legs. I was kind of leaning in and stuff, so it just was not a good, like I wasn't even on the computer. And so then we moved my computer back into up to the hallway, but we don't get good Wi-Fi, so we couldn't do that with my husband. Plus, he needs more of the space. And so, yeah, that's where my computer's now, up in the hallway in this little niche area. So I like kind of paused that, and then I kind of during that time was thinking how I've always wanted to do this. This has been like a big like adventure for me, where I love, like, I mean, back in my 20s, early 20s, I've always wanted to do interior decorating. Like, I used to watch Trading Spaces, loved all those TLC shows. Absolutely was just like, this would be my dream job, is to do interior design. And so I have no background of it, but I know what it is that I like, and stuff like that. And I know how I like to piece my things together. And so I wanted to do that for many years. But of course, I got pregnant, and then I had my daughter. And with that came something that I wasn't expecting, especially so young. But I'll share that with you guys. I suffer from alopecia, and that's why I for a long time wouldn't go in front of the camera and didn't want to be in pictures, and just really, it's hard, especially because I was only 30. Like, okay, so I'm so young. Like, why? Like, it's a heartbreaking thing that anyone experiences, including men. Like, it's just hard to experience that. And so uh, I didn't want to put myself out there, and but would always just watch other people doing it. And I'm kicking myself now, but just one day I was like, you know what? I am not getting any younger, and why am I allowing this to take control of me? And I go, you know what? Just do it. Get yourself out there. And so I did. So I created a channel. If you guys want to see what that is, or maybe if you're interested, I will definitely link the description below, or the link below. But it's Afternoons with Ray, because a lot of my friends when I was younger used to call me Ray. So just short for Desiree. And so far, I really have been enjoying it. And it kind of gives me that creative outlet that I missed, being that I couldn't be in the scrapbooking room. So even though my computer's up in, upstairs, my supplies and everything I need to scrapbook is not. So that is definitely the other hiccup. Now, the very last thing that has been going on, besides, my husband's new job, my new job, or new site, I should say, um, my new journey adventure of, decorating, is I quit my job. I quit my job. I'm not going to go into why, but uh, it was time. To be honest, it was just time. I needed something that was more of a career. Definitely, yes, this is something good for when, you need kind of short hours, but my kids are getting older. My son will be driving next year, and they're at that age where they're teenagers and doing their own thing. So it's the perfect time while I'm still young to go and start a new career. So, my one friend works for a medical company. So if you think like Scripps, Sharp, all those companies, so she works for one, and told me about this position that was open, and I went and applied, and I pretty much 99% sure that I got it. I just have to just wait and hear back. But I'm super excited to have this new change, this new journey in my life. And so I am still going to scrapbook. I know I said this once before, and of course, it was before my husband moved into the room. And that is, it won't be as often. It'll probably be once, I'm hoping, I really do hope once a week. And I also, once a week on my, design channel and, doing interior decorating, and just having fun with that along with my new job once that gets started. I don't know what the hours, I don't know anything yet. So I will find that out once I get, when I actually start. But that's what I've been up to. But let's, like I said, a lot of changes. But let's go ahead and get back into what this whole layout is about. So you guys all know my son's birthday, and we went to Disneyland. My husband doesn't go to Disneyland very often anymore. It's the crowds, and my husband is a very tall guy, so it's very hard for him to fit in certain rides. So he ends up, kind of walking around most of the time or just kind of hanging out. And so nowadays I don't really force him, not that I forced him when the kids were younger, but he didn't mind it so much when they were little. But now it's kind of like he'll go maybe every couple of years. But in the meantime, for the birthdays, it's just going to be a you know, mom and son or mom and daughter day. In this case, it was just my son and I. And we had a blast, like so much journaling, as you can see, all about that day. And I have to say, for having a break for like off of a month, like I said, this has been done though since October. It turned out so good. Like it is a full layout, and I love that. Like it's like completely packed, but not overwhelming. And I think that's because of the journaling. There's so much on there. But I love the way the background turned out. I love that I picked out red. I'm going to add just a few more puffy stickers, and I'm going to call this layout done. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, I really appreciate it. And if you're new to my channel, I do hope you hit that subscribe button because I would love to have you. You all have an amazing day. And if you celebrate Christmas, have a wonderful Christmas. If not, still have an amazing day with your loved ones. All right, everybody, I'll talk to you soon.